those. Our concern in this proposal is we believe the Industrial Commission currently has a well site and well location permitting process that isn't broken. It works. It allows for public comment on proposed locations, and we don't know why additional regulation is necessary. If there's currently a huge uproar in North Dakota about siting well sites in extraordinary places or special places, our folks in North Dakota haven't heard about it. So, we're just kind of curious where this is coming from. And if you've got a system that's been working for decades, why mess with it?
It seems to me, in terms of, and I know, given the nature of your group, I'm assuming that this is a concern of yours as well. But it seems to me that what they're doing by picking out some of these places is creating an additional standard for some private property owners, some mineral rights owners, but not others. Is that your view as well?
Well, that's exactly what we saw when the North Dakota Petroleum Council produced a map that we saw a copy of last week, and that really kind of got us going on this whole thing. Because when you look at that map, the approximate million acres that we mentioned in the press release we issued, I think the number was somewhere between 800,000 and 900,000. It's easier to say almost a million than that. But when you look at that, it's almost exclusively in the current Bakken oil and gas play. Basically, the eastern half of the state doesn't have an extraordinary place in it. That doesn't seem very fair. Doesn't seem right. My question's, what about if you want to put up a grain silo or a windmill? The list can go on, and we're kind of curious about that.
Is that true? Because this is something just at a personal level that's always bothered me, is driving around and all these windmills are all over the place. I don't like driving through them. I don't like looking at them. But I guess I recognize the right of a private property owner to make a deal with the wind industry and put up a turbine. Like, if that's what they're going to do, then fine. But am I accurate in saying that this doesn't apply to, like a wind turbine? If somebody in one of these special places designations wanted to put up a windmill as opposed to an oil pump or something like that, that they would be just fine and they wouldn't fall under this regulation?
Well, I believe you would have to ask your oil and gas commissioners about that, but from the way I read the proposed rule, and again, this is nothing's finalized yet. This is just there's a draft that we saw. It seemed exclusive to the oil and gas industry. I don't know, and I can't say if it would apply to a wind farm or an individual windmill or not, or a grain silo. I don't know. Like I said, the draft we saw specifically mentions oil and gas.
Your organization operates in multiple states. I believe you're based out of Oklahoma. Have you seen this sort of rule proposed in other places?
We have not.
Okay, so North Dakota is sort of breaking new ground here.
Yes. And again, not to say that states don't have in their permitting process, and again, as North Dakota, a means for the public to make comment and protest a site location and say, I don't believe that ought to be there because it's too near this special place, or it's too close to the river, or whatever. And especially if you can show some scientific or technical reasons it shouldn't be there. There was an effort in Colorado a couple of years ago, specifically in a couple of counties in western Colorado, to limit only oil and gas drilling, not production, but drilling, because people driving down I-70 didn't want to see the rigs. So that actually got defeated, but that was kind of similar to this.
Yeah, it's kind of like saying that, you can't farm near the highway because people don't like looking at the tractors. 701-293-9000, 888-970-9329 if you want to join me and Jerry Simmons from the Rope Coalition. Jerry, what's different? I mean, you say that the Industrial Commission has a process in place that isn't broken, but what's different? What is this adding in your mind that's objectionable?
The thing that we're concerned about is currently, if you're a citizen and you protest a drilling location, and the Industrial Commission issues the permit, basically, as that citizen that protested, you've lost, and you have to, take your lumps and go on about your business. the way we understand this new rule is you now have standing, and so you could bring legal action or just simply drag it out through continuing to protest a permit application that we just see as potentially harmful to the private property owners.
Okay, so let me make sure I'm understanding this. Under the current process, there is an opportunity for public comment. So if you say, "Hey, they're gonna start operating near this place that I think is special, has historic, cultural significance, what have you. So I'm going to go and I can protest. I can get all my friends to protest. I can get all the groups I'm affiliated with to protest, and we can go in there and we can tell the commissioners, speak our mind, and then the commissioners will make a determination, and then that's that. And that process is in place now. But if this goes through, essentially, if the commission considers all that and then says, well, let's go ahead anyway, a person or a group could file a lawsuit then and hold the process up.
You could have me sitting down here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, protesting locations in North Dakota and carrying that through. And again, this would give, I believe, the way it reads, and I might defer that to your Attorney General who's proposed it, would give that person some legal standing so that they could continue with a legal battle that currently you can't do that.
If this goes forward, and this is being considered by the Industrial Commission, this is not something that the legislature has passed or anything like that. If this goes forward, would your group challenge this in court? This rule?
I can't say that for sure. This rope coalition has just come together within the last year, so we have no experience as an organization filing lawsuits, and I don't know that that's what our board of directors would choose to do. However, individual property owners in North Dakota or some of the companies that might be affected, I would fully expect them to challenge it.
Tell me a little bit more about your group, because some people are saying that you're an AstroTurf group and that you're just you're a front for the oil industry. Tell us a little bit about how your group came together.
Okay, actually, I have two full-time jobs. I'm the executive vice president of the Rope Coalition. I'm also the executive director of the National Association of Royalty Owners, an organization that's been around for 33 years, nationwide. Thousands of members across the country, and the purpose is to educate mineral and royalty owners on how to properly manage and handle their income and their properties. A couple of years ago, some of us in the NARO group were talking about, there's so many millions of royalty owners out there that we just, in 33 years, we haven't gotten to. They don't even know that we exist. What do we do? Well, who knows where the royalty owners are? The companies. So we went to 4 companies. We said, well, you sponsor us. Let's form a 501c6 not-for-profit. And those issues that royalty owners need to know about politically and policy-wise, we'll work with you to notify them. So we did. We've been around for about a year now. Last November in Colorado, when they had the ballot initiatives in some municipalities to ban hydraulic fracturing and oil and gas, one municipality outlawed development, period, which is one of the things we're very, like I said, as private property owners, we're very concerned about. So that's the purpose of the Rope Group. We make no apologies for who we are. We are funded by the companies that we work with, and we're a board of directors of 4 royalty owners and 4 industry representatives. We only take on issues that we agree to unanimously. The royalty owners that participate are all provided to the Rope Board by the National Association of Royalty Owners. So those people that think we don't have royalty owner involvement in the Rope Group just because we're funded by industry simply aren't paying attention. And when we put out an issue like this to residents of North Dakota or residents of Colorado, we provide information on our website, www.rope.co.org. And we tell people, go there, read the information, make your decision. We think you should call the governor. We think you should do this. But obviously we can't twist their arms. And if the governor's getting a bunch of phone calls, it's because people have looked at the information and they agree with us.
Do you feel like there's been a lot of calls and emails to the governor so far?
I just before I got on the phone with you, I was reading an email message where there was a statement out of the governor's office that there has been significant phone calls coming in, most of it opposing the new rule.
Do you this getting back, I think, to the specifics of this rule? What if this rule were to pass? What impact would you say it would have on the people in the areas where the rule applies?
Well, Rob, that's tough to say, and I think there's an opportunity again for those people that don't, and for your folks in North Dakota, if they don't know this, there is a huge effort nationwide to prevent oil and gas development, and they come from all over the place. I saw a quote yesterday by somebody from the Sierra Club. If people don't know, the Sierra Club has Beyond Coal, Beyond Oil, and Beyond Natural Gas. And their policy on each one of those programs is to stop the development of those energy sources. That's our concern. If North Dakota, in all good intentions, if the AG proposed this to be sure that they protect special places or whatever, our concern is it's an overreach. The process is already in place for North Dakotans to protest and for the Industrial Commission to consider that protest. So why stretch government out and give outsiders the opportunity? Like I said, for me, sitting in Oklahoma to protest what's going on up in North Dakota, I don't need that ability, and neither does anybody else.
And that's getting back to your original the concern you said earlier, that giving standing, you're feeling that this gives people from outside of North Dakota, special interest group, activist groups, an opening basically to delay and fight North Dakota energy production without actually having any skin in the game in North Dakota.
That's our concern.
That's your concern. All right. Well, Jerry, thank you so much for. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And that's what we wanted to make North Dakota mineral and royalty owners aware of.
All right. Well, Jerry, thank you so much for your time. Certainly appreciate it. What's your website again so people could find out more information? www.ropeco.org. Ropeco.com. Or ropeco.org.
.org. That's
.org.
Right.
Gotcha. Jerry, thanks again. I'm Rob Port, sitting in for Mike Capel. State Industrial Commission considering this morning. They're not going to rule on it, but they're going to consider it. And frankly, I think it's a big deal for North Dakota, potentially a big deal. And what he says, what Jerry says about the possibility for outside groups being able to swoop into North Dakota and file some of these lawsuits and things like that, I think that's something worth considering. And again, earlier in the program, I said that maybe it'd be a good idea to bring this to the legislature and have a debate about it there. Boy, I think possible. I don't know if Jerry's right when he says that it's going to give legal standing to these other groups. But boy, I would sure like to hear a debate about that in the legislature before we go forward with something like this. 701-293-9000, 888-970-9329. I'm Rob Port, sitting in for Mike Capel. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
If you're in the car, you're in the know. In the know with News Talk